All right, we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our live stream. The first thing we're talking about is the crazy story of the blockchain developer who just lost $1 million instantly after this hack just blew up in their face and backfired. So we're going to check out what happened in this stream today. It's a pretty crazy story. We're going to look at a lot of the news updates that have happened in the in the blockchain space since our live stream yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday. Just turn on notifications, subscribe. You're going to find out about those whenever we go live. We're going to check out some of the crypto markets. We got some green on the charts today, some good signs looking like there, and a lot more. I mean, there's so much going on right now to talk about. So we can answer some of your questions from the live chat replay as well. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. Let's see. I lost my live stream window. We've got Culture Highs, Automatic Beats, technically. Timur, hope I'm saying that right. Maxime, hope I'm saying that right as well. Quinn, Eros, Paul, Brent, Robert, Matthew, Michael, Tebow, hope I'm saying that right. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's talk about this developer who lost $1 million instantly after this hack just like backfired in their face. Okay, so let's just pull this up on my screen here. Sorry, my live stream software is a little funny today. All right, so hacker fails to take $1 million loot after exploiting DeFi protocol. So we've been seeing a series of DeFi hacks, happen over the past several weeks or so. We recently saw the Ronin Bridge exploit, right? That was, I'm pretty sure, the biggest DeFi exploit to date. All right, we saw another exploit earlier this week, racking up into the hundreds of millions of dollars. So, basically, I'm wondering if somebody here has been getting a little, getting a little opportunistic, seeing everything that's been going on, saw dollar signs and was like, hey, I'm ready to, binge all weekend and try to find something that I can exploit with Solidity. And maybe they did that. This ended up just completely backfiring in their face. Maybe this is a first timer on our hands here. So probably a last timer too. So let's see. Basically, DeFi protocol Zed was exploited for $1 million. So the hacker destroyed the contract without moving any of the tokens, rendering it immobile. Okay, so let's go through that and see how this happened. So a strange event in the DeFi ecosystem occurred today when a small hack, small $1 million, took place, and the hacker failed to make off with the stolen funds. So this reminds me of a bank robbery. Or something like that, where the guys just don't get away with it. I don't know if you've ever seen like Ocean's 11 or something like that, and they're going through like all the past histories, everybody's who tried to, rob that particular hotel casino, and then like they show all the failed attempts, and you see the one where the guy just gets like clubbed across the face, where he's like, trying to exit the casino like with a big old armful of cash, talking about how he's like breathing through a hose for weeks on end or something like that. That's kind of what comes to mind here. Or like somebody who's like building a bomb inside their basement, and then it just like blows up in their face. Or like Looney Tunes or something. So anyways, the exploit happened at a lesser-known DeFi protocol called Zed, which fashions itself as an autonomous, decentralized, financial integrated ecosystem that runs on BNB chain. Okay, so basically the protocol was attacked by minting extra rewards. So the rewards were sold in the market, crashing the token's price to zero. So afterwards, the attacker, here's where things really backfired. So after the hacker destroyed the contract using the exploit, but the problem is any of the tokens that were held in the contract could no longer be moved. Okay, so they didn't have access to them anymore. So basically the hacker kills the contract but forgets to transfer the profit. So that's a total backfire. So how does it happen? So a lot of times what you'll see this with exploits is like, in order to exploit a protocol, a lot of times you have to call really specific things. Like you have to programs some really specific steps that have to happen all in the same transaction. Maybe it's a flash loan exploit. Maybe it's, XYZ. It just typically has to have multiple instructions. So typically what you're doing is you're writing like smart contract functions that perform each of those things step by step. All right. So whatever it is, that's what has to happen. And so basically, many times people will perform those steps, and then if it involves moving any funds around, like instead of moving the funds around to your own wallet while you're calling those transactions, it's going to make the smart contract, be the recipient of each intermediate step, because, a lot of times you have to approve tokens before you move it. And if you just like approve it all in one spot, like that's just you're acting on behalf of the contract the entire time. Now, what you'll see a lot of times with people who do exploits is at the end of the exploit itself, they'll call like self-destruct on the smart contract itself, or a special function that basically just takes the smart contract and blows it up, right? It just erases it, erases it from the network, okay? But the problem with that is once you erase it, you can't get anything back. So the critical step before you erase it is to transfer the funds out of the smart contract before you hit the delete key. But that's not what happened here. And for that reason, all the tokens that were absconded with in the exploit are basically burnt, and they were not able to recover them. They did not receive that which they came for. So there is definitely a lesson to be learned here. Even if you're not, trying to hack a protocol, whenever you're moving ERC20 tokens around, or even Ether, any kind of cryptocurrency, to a smart contract, always make sure that you have some sort of fail-safe mechanism to retrieve the money out of that smart contract to yourself. Also make sure you're the only person that can call that function. Don't let anybody else take money out of the smart contract. And make sure you are not able to accidentally destroy your own contracts or somebody else with self-destruct, especially if it holds money inside of there. Somebody says, I bet they won't be able to make that mistake again. Yeah. Let's see here. What's the best blockchain suitable for more financial markets related products? So honestly, most of the DeFi stuff, most of the high-end DeFi stuff is happening on top of Ethereum right now. That's where a lot of the innovations happening. We're seeing it disseminate to other chains, but especially as layer 2s get involved in the process. That's really going to change. It already is changing the landscape quite a bit. I would definitely focus on Ethereum, and the very least learning Solidity, because you can take the Solidity skills and transfer them to other EVM compatible chains. I guess a simpler way to say, if you want to do anything finance related, definitely learn Solidity. All right, so it's crazy. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. It says, GG, good game, unlucky hackers. So our layer 2 is safe. So that's a great question. No blockchain is really truly safe by any stretch of the imagination. You could always do something to potentially, any blockchain really could go down. Like that. That's the honest truth. Now, some things are way less likely to go down. Bitcoin's probably not going down. Ethereum's probably not going down. But we've seen outages with a lot of new layer 1 protocols that a lot of people don't like to admit. Of course they've come back up, but nothing's truly safe. Now you could rank order these things for sure. Now layer 2s. They are newer, right? So you definitely want to be careful with these, right? Some of these things are even secured by admin keys, so there's always that potential risk there. I'm not saying anybody's necessarily going to do anything bad who created those, but there could be exploits like we've seen before, okay? So, layer 2 is going to be less safe than layer 1. That is the truth. So always be cautious when you're using those types of things. For now, in particular, okay? And theoretically speaking, it's always going to be less, air quotes, safe, just because there's fewer trust assumptions involved, right? But they will become more safe over time. All of blockchain will be more, quote unquote, safe over time, as just like anything else, as the reliability over time increases. the likelihood that something bad's going to happen is going to decrease. All right, so let's look at a couple of things that are going on in the space here. We can have a check out what's going on at the crypto markets, but we did see this pop up. So I think to understand is there's a ton of money going around in the space for people, to developers, to join initiatives. And we see Kadena announces a $100 million grant for Web3 developers. Okay. So basically the grant will be used to support builders and developers working on NFTs and DeFi and gaming and other areas. So it's a proof of work blockchain that basically are trying to get people to build on top of it. All right. And then basically they're just trying to attract more developers to build things on it. And there's $100 million sitting there for people who want to do exactly that. So, people say, how do you find a job in the blockchain space? Well, you might be able to even just create a job for yourself. Someone says, do you think that ETH gas prices will drop with, it says stacking, I think that they mean staking. So they're not going to drop with proof of work, the proof of stake merge when proof of work goes away. That's what layer 2 scaling solutions are for. Let's see here. Proof of barbecue staking. Yeah, so basically, staking, what is that? It's basically proof of work, stake, proof of work, proof of stake. So it's not stake like you eat a steak like a cow. It's basically stake like you take cryptocurrency and you stake it to the network. It's like you're risking it. It's just stake that you're putting down to guarantee transactions that are valid as you put them in the blockchain, because you can be penalized for being dishonest, and you can conversely be rewarded for acting honestly. All right, so let's go ahead and check on a couple other things that are going on in the space here. Let me just pull this up. We can definitely check out what's going on in the crypto markets. Looks like we've got some green on the charts here. We can kind of explore that and maybe take a look at some of my thoughts. So this article, front page of CoinDesk, talking about Bitcoin investors eye a 200-day average after the 3-day rally, the analyst says. So basically, the cryptocurrency's recent bounce from under $40,000 has restored short-term bullish bias. Okay, so bullish signals for Bitcoin have emerged, favoring a continued price rally towards the widely tracked 200-day simple moving average. We've talked about this a lot in our live streams lately. If you've been paying attention, but I'll show you what that means on the charts here if you're not totally sure. Basically, the daily chart shows leading digital assets from $38,000 to $42,000 in the past 3 days. Basically, Bitcoin held support near $40,000 and has generated an oversold buy signal from the daily stochastics after a 3-day rally, supporting a short-term bullish bias. Basically, the daily moving average is pinched as well, reflecting improved short-term momentum that supports a move higher towards resistance near $48,100, defined by the 200-day moving average. So basically, we'll show you exactly what that means in the charts, because again, some people are kind of curious about how do you look at like this type of stuff, and how do you understand what other people are watching. Now I'll be straight up with you, like, the this is all like short-term stuff, and I don't get too caught up in the short-term price action, but people want to know. It's good to know, like good to have an idea of where things are headed. Let me just pull it up here. One of the reasons I track this stuff, because it's really a lot of other people watch it and kind of become a self-fulfilling prophecy where people are trying to make buy and sell decisions. Okay, so basically, like, you can see I've got the lines kind of drawn on my chart here. I've got the weekly candles pulled up. You can see on a weekly time frame, basically, this was the dip down to about $40,000. Previously, we got this rejection off this 200-day moving average we're talking about. So why do a lot of people watch this figure? Well, it's because, because of what Bitcoin price has done recently. It's been pretty bearish, right? I mean, price has been on the downtrend since, the beginning of November. So what is that? December, January, February, March, April, basically 5 months, nearing 6 months now. And so when price goes bearish for that long, a lot of people are scratching their head going like, are we in something like 2018, 2019, where we were just in like a crypto winter? I don't personally think that we are, but during that time, we kept getting rejected at this 200-day moving average. And what that is like averaging out Bitcoin's past price performance relative to its current price performance. It's a simple average, okay? And so basically it's tracking that. So basically, if Bitcoin starts to change direction, then it's going to start doing better than its past performance. Now, in bear markets, it gets rejected off that, which indicates that the price is not turning around and not correcting. So we did get a rejection off that, at the end of March, and we've come back down, but we have, basically put in a higher low here, and based on what the analyst is saying here, this article is that short term, it looks like it wants to go up and try to test that 200-day moving average again. All right, but before I get too excited, what I want to see happen is for us to basically push through that 200-day moving average, and then correct in price and hold it as support. So right, resistance is when you're trying to get through it, and the support's when it holds you up, right? So you want to get through the resistance and then hold it as support before we get too excited. But we do see, some perspective that, like, hey, what's been going on with the Bitcoin price over the past, several months? We've seen pretty horrible economic conditions, on the grand scheme of things. And the Bitcoin price has been pretty resilient, honestly, on the grand scheme of things, right? Like, we've seen, bad economic conditions, international conflict, wars, all that type of stuff, monetary policy changing, interest rates going up. And that's all that happened to the Bitcoin price, right? It didn't just like absolutely tank, kind of like we saw in March 2020, okay? We had a significant correction, but it did not result in anything disastrous, I would say. So that's good. And the other thing is, like, we're seeing these sort of long periods of accumulation, which is basically means long periods of, kind of lower volatility without any real crazy price action, okay? Which can be bullish, because basically when the price gets down like this, a lot of the smart money is saying like, hey, the risk reward scenario is a lot favorable here. I'd rather buy Bitcoin at this level because the downside risk is nowhere near as big as what the potential upside, payoff is. And so you've had a long time for people to accumulate crypto, especially Bitcoin, which for the long term, I think could be really good. And I'm going to see if I can pull up the stats on here, but we're seeing like, wallets with large numbers of Bitcoin increase over time. Let's see if I can pull it up. Sorry, my allergies are killing me. All right, let's see if I can. Some metrics to definitely check out for what's going on with wallets with certain, Bitcoin percentages inside, or Bitcoin amounts inside of them, if I can find it. Like wallets with over 1,000 Bitcoin, we're seeing a spike up. right, at the current price levels, basically since end of February. If you want to look at wallets with, let's just see here. Wallets with 10,000 Bitcoin. So we're on a local upward trend. Okay. At the very least, you could say that we're seeing some support here right now. I would expect, honestly, this number to like kind of trend down over time, because like just this, the more Bitcoin becomes worth, right? Like the less reason there's gonna be to hold that much Bitcoin. You know what I mean? And also like it's just riskier too. Like holding 10,000 Bitcoin in a single wallet, like for operational security, even if you have 10,000 Bitcoin, like you probably don't want to hold it all in one wallet. So there's lots of reasons. I mean, exchanges, kind of probably factor to this in some equation too. But I do think there is some merit to the metric of large, accounts, basically accumulating at these levels. All right, just one second. I'm gonna take care of this. Sorry, everybody. My allergies are killing me here. Let me just do this real quick. Hold on. All right, I'm back here. Okay. Okay, so let's see. If I talk about the MetaMask iCloud vulnerability. So, not just yet. I did see this. Let me see. Let's just pull it up. Let's pull up the details on this, okay? So, MetaMask issues warning following $650,000 iCloud phishing scam, okay? So, the wallet app is asking users to disable iCloud backups for MetaMask, going into settings, profile, iCloud, manage storage backups, MetaMask response to John Christmas and community members. It's basically crypto wallet MetaMask issued a warning advising users to disable iCloud backups after an exploit of Apple's service estimates $650,000 phishing scam. DeFi wallet provider said Sunday users who have iCloud enabled for iPhone application data were susceptible to hacker because the backups included their password encrypted MetaMask vault. Okay, so basically, without doing much more due diligence than literally just reading this article now, it looks like what happened was essentially people were storing their seed phrases, or the private keys. I'm not sure, probably their seed phrases in MetaMask's own features, and MetaMask's own features sync that to iCloud, and there was probably a vulnerability in the implementation, and that it was exploited. So I'll put it this way: I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus for this. I'm not gonna try to because part of the reason why is because I don't have all the details here to know exactly how this happened. I'm just kind of taking these at face value. I'm not just gonna read an article and then start pointing fingers at people if I don't know the whole story here. But basically, I'll just put it this way. Honestly, best practices with crypto private keys are you don't really want to store sensitive, crypto. Typically you just don't want stuff going on a server, okay? Even if it's encrypted, even if it's somebody else claims that it's safe, anytime your private keys get stored in the cloud somewhere, that's bad news, okay? So I mean, security best practices are there's rarely a simple answer for security best practices when it comes to crypto, because there's always gonna be trade-offs with different operational security practices. But generally speaking, I would not put private keys for any significant amount of money on, any type of application that had cloud backups. And so whatever wallet you want to choose, you probably want to make sure that, that type of thing doesn't exist. Somebody says they love the word fungible. Yeah, it's a funny word. What would you regard as the top jobs in crypto at the moment? Care to guess how it will evolve? Solidity developer, definitely number one in terms of demand and availability for that type of work and compensation and it being interesting and all that type of stuff. Definitely number one job. And that's not just my bias showing. Like it's I think lots of people who are not developers would probably say the same thing in terms of demand. Somebody says, unfortunately, there's no demand for Solidity developer in their area. Well, the good news is, so blockchain is incredibly remote friendly. Like a lot of people can't reach out and find Solidity developers in their area necessarily, and vice versa for employers. And so, working remotely is definitely the answer to that problem. And some people say they don't like working from home. You can always go to a co-working space or something like that. I mean, the whole point is like if you can't find the perfect solution, try to find the best compromise that you can. I mean, even if your employer like doesn't subsidize like a co-working space, like you're probably gonna make enough to pay for it and it be an enjoyable experience. Stop sniffing. Well, if you'd like to fix my allergy problem, that'd be great. I'd be happy to stop sniffing. I could just not do the live streams, say I don't feel like it, but I decided to do it anyway. Can I create a clone of MetaMask? Maybe. Like if you're asking about a tutorial, maybe. We have done a wallet tutorial on the channel. Definitely go check that out if you haven't already. So it says my issue with altcoins is that when there was a dip a couple months ago, people having Solana couldn't sell or buy because the network fell apart multiple times, despite Solana claimed how robust it was. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen some outages. You know what I mean? And so like new stuff is always going to be riskier. I mean, Solana's pretty new. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps the videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with the technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can become a blockchain master step by step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time.